TruGrid Connector is what you will use to log into your server. With its built-in optional multi-factor authentication, it offers strong security and easy access to your server wherever and whenever you need it. This video assumes you have already installed TruGrid and have established your credentials in multi-factor authentication. We are going to log into the TruGrid Connector, change some settings, and take a look around your new remote desktop server. If you have any questions after watching this video or need additional support, please check out our support articles at ticket.summithosting.com or submit a ticket by clicking here. Find the TruGrid Connector application on your computer and open it, and then log in with your username and password. Once you are logged into TruGrid, but before you actually log into the remote desktop, I want to show you some of the settings you have available to you. So in the upper right-hand corner where your profile is located, click on the little drop-down arrow and click Settings. Let's step through some of the most common settings that our users like to change. First of all, you can change your screen mode. You can choose windowed mode, where you see your remote desktop as another window that you can move around the screen, just like you currently see when I move around the TruGrid Native Connector window here. This is useful for quickly moving back and forth between your local desktop and the remote one. However, it can be confusing for some users to know which environment they are in. That is why we often recommend you choose full screen mode so that your remote desktop appears to be your local desktop instead. This is useful if you want to make sure you are working inside the remote desktop. It's still easy to switch between your local and remote environments, but it becomes a little more obvious where you are working when you're in this mode. If you choose this option and have two monitors, one monitor will show your local desktop and the other will be your remote desktop. That can be a very effective way to work. However, if you want to work exclusively in your remote environment and you have multiple monitors, you can choose full screen all displays to make your remote desktop go across your multiple monitors. It is still easy to switch between your local and remote environments, but it is less convenient if you want to see your local desktop when you're in this mode. This sometimes aids some of our users in focus and concentration on the task at hand. You can also change these additional settings such as screen resolutions, video quality, and more, but we recommend starting with the default to see if that works for you. The majority of our users leave most of the default settings. If you want something very specific in your remote desktop display, you can play around with the settings found here. You won't break anything if you do change these, but again, the majority of our users leave these alone in this section. Under Device Redirection, you can choose whether or not to redirect certain devices such as the printers if you want to still be able to see them while you're in the remote session. Finally, you can change the audio and video settings here. Once again, the most common setting that our users change is the screen mode, so I'll demonstrate that next, starting with windowed mode. Once you have picked your settings, you can click Save and then X out, or you can reset all to default before you X out of this window. When you're ready, go ahead and hover over the computer you're going to remote into and click Connect. After a few seconds, your remote desktop will load. You can see that in this view, we have a remote window, but we can still see my local desktop and files as well. To switch views, we will need to log out, change the settings, and then connect again. This time I'll choose full screen mode and then click Connect. You can see now it looks like a normal desktop. I can see it's not my local desktop, but it's very similar because I'm still seeing the typical Windows 10 environment full screen, as though I just borrowed someone else's computer. To switch back to windowed mode so you can access your local computer, click the minimize or restore down icon up here. To switch back, click the full screen mode on the remote desktop window. Down in the bottom left corner, you have the regular start menu with applications installed. You can go into your control panel and see the devices and printers that are available to you. If you chose to access your local printers in the device redirection settings when we were in the TruGrid menu, you would see those printers listed here as shown. If you're ready to get to work, click on this PC so you can see the folders and directories you have available to you. The Summit Hosting C drive is where you can copy and paste your files to Summit Hosting. The shared or S drive is where you'll save all your company data to. You can keep as many files and folders here as you want and organize them in any way that serves you best. The C desktop drive is your quick portal over to your local computer. If you have a QuickBooks file on your computer that you want to bring over here, you can access it through the C drive and drag and drop the file onto your S drive to copy it, or you can minimize your remote desktop. When you do so, you'll see your local computer. Navigate to whatever files or folders you need, right-click and copy. Then click back into your remote desktop, go to your S drive, right-click and choose Paste, and the files you want to move over are now on the remote desktop and ready to use. In order to link your QuickBooks file, open QuickBooks from the desktop. You may see the QuickBooks Setup dialog. Simply close this and then click Restore a Backup Copy. Next, click Next, choose Local Backup, and then navigate to the S drive where your QuickBooks file is located and open it. Choose where you want to restore the file. Note that if you don't want to overwrite your existing company file, you have the option to rename the file in the next window. Click Next to change the name or location of the file here. Click Save. If you are restoring an older file, the system will prompt you to update the company file to the newest version of QuickBooks Desktop. Please note that once you update, you will not be able to open your company file in an older version. The company file will take a minute to load. Once it's loaded, you're all set. When you are done with your session, we do recommend that you log off. The easiest way is to double-click the icon on the desktop to log off Windows. The other way is to click the Windows icon, click the user icon at the top, and choose Sign Out. That brings you back to the TruGrid Connector, and you can go ahead and log out here as well. Now you know how to log into the TruGrid Connector, change your settings, and get to work in your remote desktop server. If you have any questions or need additional support, please check out our support articles at ticket.summithosting.com or submit a ticket by clicking here. Thank you for watching.